today we will be discussing DAOs, and we have Pratik along with us, and he is part of Covalent team. He's heading marketing and growth over there, and he also looks into governance and DAO.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nirbik. Maybe I can start with a little background on what. So Nirbik has already covered. Yes, that I do work at Covalent, marketing and growth side, and I also look at some of the governance aspects of Covalent in terms of taking a specific proposal to governance voting, and in turn, of course, formalizing the entire DAO process. So yeah, I got into the crypto space somewhere around 2016, 2017. Up until then, I was running a marketing agency. So I was running my own business at that point. But it was a podcast episode which allowed me to kind of learn about what's happening in crypto space. So Tim Ferriss at that point interviewed Naval Ravikant and Nick Szabo. Naval at that point was a well-known VC, still is, and Nick Szabo was a cryptographer. He's still been doing really great stuff. So yeah, I mean, that was my rabbit hole story, and since then I haven't looked back. I've kind of 100% delved in the crypto space, worked on different projects. On the marketing and growth side of things, not technical, because what I thought was two things that will really, really help propel this industry will be technology, of course. The second is community. So from a technology standpoint, I was okay, I probably won't be able to kind of help because I'm not a programmer or a developer, but I can definitely build communities, and that's something that I've done previously. So something that I can evangelize for the crypto space. So yeah, for the past 3-4 years, that's what I've been doing, and worked with multiple projects from layer 1 protocols to DeFi protocols to now working at a Web3 kind of an infrastructure layer protocol. So it has been a very rewarding and exciting journey. So I'm excited to be here and share some of those that I've learned on the way.
Can you give us LE5 on DAOs? So what LE5 is for other people? So explain like I am 5. You can explain DAOs to us in a very simple manner.
DAOs as a concept kind of introduced back in 2014 in some of the writings of Vitalik Buterin, who is the inventor of Ethereum, the smart contract platform. Now, what happened back then, I mean, he obviously wrote a lot of things, and he still writes a lot of things that people kind of pick up and then, of course, build on top of it and so on. So he mentioned these items. One of the items is, of course, DAOs and DACs and DAs. So DAOs are nothing but decentralized autonomous organizations. So essentially, what we are looking at is something in terms of having a community kind of an approach, which is internet native, and at the same time goes and has one specific goal that everyone can go after. So that's how I would put it as. So internet native communities in 3 words, simple terms, essentially. Different definitions now that people are really getting into DAOs and learning about DAOs to a point that 2022 is called as the year of DAOs. Though some of the DAOs also kind of picked up really well in the year 2021. We'll just lock in at internet native communities.
Correct. That's great, actually. And I definitely agree to that point where you said, right, this year is supposed to be the DAO season. So 2020 and 2021 have been the DeFi and NFT seasons, right? And now is the time for DAOs. And I think definitely we'll see a lot of iterations, a lot of people. And I'm seeing celebrities joining DAOs, right? So that's pretty exciting. Because, and they're also very curious, how this whole system will work. And it's really fascinating, right? Because it's different from how we used to perceive an organization, right? It's completely different from that. Fantastic put up. Next question, connecting with that is, how DAOs work actually?
I mean, there's definitely a lot that goes into a DAO, but at a foundation level, there are a few pieces. When we say it is internet native, it cannot just be a Telegram group, or it cannot just be a Discord server. or it cannot just be one thing where people come together, or a WhatsApp group, for example. I mean, in the general internet context. When you talk about DAOs, there is some kind of a financial element associated with it. And it could be in terms of tokens, which ideally makes it crypto friendly or Web3 native. I mean, these are some of the terms I might have heard recently. So essentially, as long as you have a token associated to a project, it qualifies to be a DAO. I mean, you can still like run a DAO without a token, but there has to be some kind of ownership or shared ownership between the people within the DAO. And that's how you will be kind of assemble all kinds of people who are like going after like one particular goal. Now, one thing is definitely to have a specific financial element tied to it. It could be a token, maybe something else to start with, but yeah, eventually it will be some kind of a token, definitely. And the structure is essentially shared set of people. So because it is embedded on a blockchain, I mean, and tied in a smart contract, it becomes easier for everyone to understand what's happening. So there is openness. It also gives like more and more transparency as to what is happening with the inner happenings of the DAO in terms of, okay, who's getting paid how much, one, two, how much revenue is getting generated. So think of it as like a public listed company, which has like all the balance sheets and everything, but you also get to know more because it is open source and anyone can like see, understand what are the inbuilt mechanisms of the DAO. Of course, there is also that gated element where the access is only limited to the people who are associated to the DAO. So an example of that could be a Discord server has gated access for people who have a certain amount of tokens of that particular DAO. That is also one kind of way of going ahead with. But yeah, there are different ways people are trying. And you might as well heard of NFTs. So there are NFT specific DAOs as well, wherein if you hold an NFT, you get access to that particular community and you can basically govern that community in a way that you actually take part in the decision. So the tokens that I mentioned, like I think 90% of the times are used for governance, wherein you have a token, and as long as you have that token with you, you will be able to vote on the important operational items that happen or processes that happen within the DAO. So yeah, I mean, at a foundational level, you do need a financial element tied to it, a token potentially, and then you need shared ownership, then you need governance at a level where people can participate in things.
Fantastic put. And I think NFTs, as you mentioned, right, NFTs also unlock the power of these token gated communities, and I think that has been some part of the whole NFT season, right? You look at Squiggle DAO. There are other DAOs which are based on NFTs. So if you hold NFTs, you get access to the Discord community, and the culture inside the DAO is definitely something moving, right? People come in and people contribute themselves, right? There's no one forcing them. They believe in the idea and they follow it. So that's great to see. Another thing that I would like you to mention is basically, as you mentioned, the openness, right? So, I mean, there are projects like Llama community and, different DAO, or you can say these treasury management applications in Web3, right? They are a fantastic example where people can see what treasury has been managed by a specific DAO, and it's pretty transparent, right? And that's not there in your usual Web2 companies. that's the right. magic of DAOs and decentralization or Web3, right? So fantastic. But coming to the next question, like following that, how do you start building a DAO? Or is there a go-to, just a community that follows your idea? How does it all start?
Yeah, there are different ways to start, and there have been like really innovative ways that we've seen in the past as to how DAOs are kind of created. There is no one set playbook, and I've seen like people literally. There was this idea, I think sometime last year, where someone I think a woman who was in like a clubhouse session. She came up with something called as a pizza DAO, and basically created NFTs out of like the favorite toppings of pizza and sold these NFTs for hundreds and thousands of dollars. So I mean that's like wacky and weird ways of how like a DAO is kind of formalized, and we've seen recently how Irene DAO has come as well. So that's another story. But yeah, in terms of the playbooks, in terms of the processes, you do need, I mean, there are certain tooling, like infrastructure level tooling, and the current state of DAO infrastructure, and that's something that we've been talking about a lot in this space. You mentioned about Llama community being a treasury management tool. So that kind of a tool is needed at some point when you have like certain number of people in the DAO working in the DAO, and wherein you have like some kind of a financial element type to it, wherein you talk about that and so on. So that's one tool that you can definitely use, Llama. And then there is something called as Snapshot, which allows you to kind of do the governance side of things. So let's say if you want to have a voting system in place for like different questions or different proposals that come within the DAO, then you can use Snapshot, and as long as someone has that particular token, they can participate in the governance of that particular process through Snapshot. It's a Web3 native tool, and then it identifies easily as to you own the token for that particular DAO, and then you can vote on a specific proposal. So multiple other platforms as well. So there's like a basic one is Collabland is what we have seen across like different Discord servers, and even at this point, I some of the Collabland tools also working in Telegram. Basically, the way it works is you have let's say as long as you have the tokens, and like I said, there is that gated access system that allows you to be a part of that community. So if you have, let's say, 100 tokens of some project or some community, then you will be able to get access to that particular Discord server as long as you connect your wallet through Collabland. I mean, because Collabland basically does the entire verification, so you don't need like your own tool to kind of work around on those aspects. So yeah, I mean, there are multiple tools available. There are, I think, in this call, there are going to be POAPs given to people who are attending this. So that's also one way to kind of increase engagement within the DAOs in a very Web3 native way, because POAPs are directly on the blockchain and people love POAPs. So that's very exciting. So there are these different tools to kind of get started. The most important one, I think, from a financial standpoint, because there is shared ownership and shared approach when it comes to like going towards one goal, is Gnosis Safe. So Gnosis is a platform. Basically, it creates multi-signature wallets. Now, multi-signature wallets are basically, now, you don't need it, but I'm just telling you because some of the DAOs in the industry use it to kind of have multiple signatory authorities. So let's say Nirvik and I start a DAO, and then we have one wallet that has all the tokens, and then but it's not Nirvik who controls it, or it's not me who controls it. It's both of us, unless we have like two signatures on a particular decision that is made or a transaction that is supposed to happen. That, I mean, it will only go through if it happens by both of us. So yeah, Gnosis Safe, GNOSIS Safe is one of the tools that a lot of people use. I mean, again, this all depends on how you go about in terms of like tokenomics and how the smart contracts work. If you want to tie it to the NFTs, then you can also just build like an NFT collection, and based on the NFT collection, you can have a DAO made as well, like Nirvik mentioned earlier. But I think, yeah, there are different ways and different tools that are available, but they're still at a very nascent stage. We still haven't seen, okay, I mean, the way we know to build a startup, you need like some kind of a registration, you need some kind of a bank account, you need all those things. So those items, I mean, of course, there's a lot of hassle involved. In DAOs, there's like literally you can start a DAO in a minute. I mean, I've seen apart from Ethereum, I've seen on like different blockchains, for example, Near, you can literally create a DAO in like 3 minutes. I've seen that. And then that's also possible, which is not possible in like a startup kind of an environment, business kind of an environment. But at the same time, I'd like to say that all of this is evolving, basically making things better. And so, yeah, that's how I would put in terms of like how to actually put the pieces together.
Awesome. One fantastic example is Constitution DAO. Although I'm not sure where these guys are right now, like how they're processing all the payments that or the funds that were received by them. But apparently it was a great idea, right? Out of nowhere, they decided to basically, it was just an idea, right? Out of nowhere, they decided to basically buy the first copy of the Constitution, right? So I mean, that's how basically people share values, and quickly people jumped into the same boat, and they joined in, and they created a fund, right? And it's not just thousands of Ks, right? it was pretty big amount that they were able to generate, and that's the power of DAO, and how the culture actually surrounds the DAOs and Web3.
Yeah, it is exciting the way how like the people token did after even losing the bid for the Constitution DAO. So that was like fascinating because so as long as you have the token in the market, things can like really go in either like the direction, and that's what we saw happening with people, the token of Constitution DAO. So yeah, a very fascinating case study. There are different examples. Looking at Constitution DAO, people came up with something called as Kraus DAO, which is basically buying like a basketball team. Then there is like something called as Mountain DAO, where you basically buy like a mountain in somewhere in the US.
Yes,
and I've participated in all of these, and it is fascinating I mean, it's also like to also learn as to how these things happen. I mean, one thing is, of course, you be a part of that community, but of course, the learning is very important here. And so tomorrow, who knows? I mean, in India, someone could just start like a DAO to I don't know, like do a fundraise. It could or to buy an IPL team. I mean, who knows? I mean, if someone has that kind of a veto or like influence, they might as well do that. I mean, because there are newer teams that are coming. I mean, I've seen like I think Gujarat is back, or like a couple of other teams are back as well. So I think that's still possible.
That's a fantastic example, actually. I was thinking about Taj Mahal, by the way. It's not possible, but yeah, who knows? Like it's all about values and people. That's what drive people, right? So next is, why do you think they matter?
So it's basically the need for people to get organized, and in a way that like everyone has like a value or goal that they can go after, and then of course also manage assets together, and which is not possible in a centralized system. So if you look at some of the centralized systems that we spoke about, like startups and businesses, it is like very difficult to have that kind of a level of transparency and still kind of have manage like large number of assets. Now, I'm not saying that we have done that. DAOs are at a very nascent stage. We haven't seen like a large scale DAO, which is like billions of dollars kind of been added and that's being managed. But it is possible. We've seen with small case studies across the industry that it is possible. And that's what I think that DAOs are like the necessary thing right now to mature as an industry, in that they have a purposeful call to action to get involved at a very deeper level with the community. And that's not possible. So the success that we're talking about Constitution DAO, though it failed, but the love for like everyone getting together, going to Christie's is not a joke. Christie's is the world's #1 auction site. It's a like, and we were up against. I mean, so I was a part of that Constitution DAO. So we were up against billionaires, like top business magnates of the world. Yeah, we lost, but that's fine. We raised, I think it was $40 million.
Fantastic put up. So thanks a lot for joining. Thank you, Pratik, especially for joining us and giving us a deep dive on DAOs. And we are really looking forward to further conversation, maybe a panel discussion.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Nirbhik, and thanks everyone for joining in. It was a pleasure.